Greetings. I've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while now. I've been wanting to bring it up because it's been on my mind. And I know that this is equated. This is equated. I make words up, so follow me. This has a lot to do with me still with my self discovery, with me still learning who I am and what it is that complements me. I look back on past relationships and I realize that some of the people that I've dated, if I would have took just a little bit more time to get to know them, they would not have even had the opportunity to smell me fart. Okay? They wouldn't have had an opportunity to smell my breath in the morning, you know, because taking that time would have shown me the character that I was pushing aside, that I kind of saw in the beginning, but let it fly over my head so I can just not be walking this path alone. You know what I mean? Needless to say, I have had this struggle, and I'm being transparent. This is so real because I always call myself a nerd. I've always called myself a fucking nerd. And I don't know why. I think that as a sister, that there's certain things that all of us in abroad like that most sisters may not like or whatever. No stereotypes whatsoever. But as for me, speaking for myself, I've acknowledged and learned that there are some things about me that kind of set me apart amongst today's today's women. For myself, I struggled a lot with, and this is real, trying to become the woman that I'm not so that I can fit in with the majority, the vast majority of men and women who find themselves in toxic relationships due to the toxic things that they feel like they have to do to attract one another and to stay together. I found myself educating myself on ways to cultivate, to change my natural essence, my personality, to become this woman who I'm not. For example, to be more mean, because men like mean women. Now, I don't listen to everything that a person says, but I've witnessed seeing a woman just focused on herself. I've been that woman in different seasons where my focus is solely on me. It still is, but there's a lot of compromise because I hadn't gotten to that space of really super duper loving myself and super duper knowing how to practice, how to stick and stay grounded to boundaries, where I ended up in this relationship and my boundaries became something that I compromised because it wasn't something that I had practiced long enough to know how to withstand. And in me compromising my boundaries, I became the laughing stock of the game of love in someone's life where we felt, I thought that it was progressive and moving towards something great, when in actuality, my vulnerability and lack of sticking to boundaries made me a walking mat to walk on. And I went through this back and forth thing, for a while, trying to understand how I could become this worldly renowned, new mental spirited woman, to know how to game, manipulate, lie, do all the things that get people places, I guess, so that I could finally fit into this game of life. Actually, being a woman who has traveled, who has seen different parts of the world, has made me a very diverse woman. It has opened and broadened my thoughts, and it has shown me things that will never leave my character, that will never leave my personality, that will never leave my makeup. So basking in the quote unquote nerdy characteristic or personality, now mind you, I still got a little hood in me. Yeah, man. But at the end of the day, I thrive off of learning things and being new and being imperfect and making flaws, making mistakes and learning from them and apologizing and doing something new again and love, fucking love. And in that, I told myself, you got to stop playing with yourself. Like, you got to stop trying to be someone you're not. You got to stop trying to implement the characteristics that the world has towards relationships, that the world has towards men, that the world has towards themselves, and know that you are different, that you are set apart amongst the individuals who are so invested in having sex for money, playing people for gain, and just basically living in their traumas rather than healing from them and having non-toxic healthy relationships. I'm not talking about anyone per se, but I put on the face and I tried. I literally tried, and that did not last long at all. I literally tried to be this bitch ass, hey, you motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? No, we finna do this. This is now, come on. And I was like, this is a role that you can continue to play until you get it. But this downgrades, this suppresses the true, genuine nature of who you are as a woman, fuck color, as a person. This just downgrades who you are as the person that you've developed. And one thing I've learned, and this is so vital, is people who have experienced, you know what I'm saying, adjusting my wig is on my ear, my wig. It's on my ear, my wig. You know when your wig be on your ear and your ear start hurting. Anyway, people who have been through trauma have developed, some of us have developed so many different traumatic different experiences in our lives that we've learned how to suppress, that when we get older, we literally avoid confrontation. We are non-confrontational because we lived that shit growing up. And when you get older, it is all about peace. It is all about representing peace and trying to be examples of that, though we make mistakes. And so for myself, I have grown up to be the kind of person that whenever there was confrontation or anything unbalanced around me, I would get ghost. You would catch me moving right on along. But I also didn't know how to equate that to my relationships because I always wanted to fill a gap in a space that has never yet been filled by genuine, pure love. And once realizing that no one could love me the way that I love myself. And today, I'm standing in the mirror and I literally had a full vision of a man coming up behind me and hugging me. And I told myself, how would it feel to be embraced by the man that I know that loves me? By the man that I know that is embracing me, showing me affection because he is invested into me. I'm in the mirror and I felt the whole thing happen. I felt it. And then there was like a sadness that came over me that I had to then go within and regulate that energy and say, what is it? If this man was to approach you, walk up behind you, kiss you and embrace you, what is it that he would have done that would have made you feel more of who you are as a woman and made you feel more accomplished, more established, more feminine? What would that have done to fulfill your life's journey? Not to take it so deep, but I have to sometimes to really get to that realization of where I am in that moment presently. So I asked myself, I said, how do you feel? And I said, I feel sad. I kind of feel a little lonely, but yet I have no reason to feel this way because though there is no one coming up to me, hugging me, and embracing me right now, when there was someone coming up to me, hugging me, and embracing me, the shit wasn't authentic. It wasn't real. So what is it that this whole moment just put on you, just laid on you? What is it that this whole moment allowed you to feel? And I said, what is it that this man could have done that I could do for myself? And I hate that the world is in this season about all this stuff is about us and for ourselves. Back in the 60s and 50s, and they was like, fuck that, let's get together. I'm so in love with you, yeah. Whatever you want to do, yeah, is alright with me. I mean, motherfuckers wasn't thinking about healing and journeys and shit. I mean, people in the 70s that was born in that time, that was up, raised up, living, did they talk about healing and journeys and shit? Or did they just stay together? Needless to say, what I went through was a moment of reflection. And in that moment of reflection, I realized, I said, could this man have done that I could give myself right now? So right there in the mirror, you guys, and this is so transparent, I just took myself and I hugged myself. And I said, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And though my mind, my body, my spirit, my soul still felt empty, because he got a whole nother piece that he could have just went ahead and slid up in the situation. And you know what I'm saying? Shut your girl up. He could have did something different. You know what I'm saying? But in the midst of that, moving forward, get your mind right. I hugged myself and I embraced myself. And though it didn't feel like I was doing much right then and there for me, I just came out of a very toxic and very unhealthy relationship. But embracing myself, going through the motion, was the first step of saying, it's one thing to want a man to embrace you that does not understand the aura and the essence of your greatness as the woman that you are in the midst of a world full of women. It's one thing to have that inauthentic embrace, and it's another thing to know that you're growing and loving yourself, and that you're embracing yourself, and that you're taking care of yourself, and that you're loving yourself, and that this is what's relevant and important to be able to have boundaries, stick to them, and stay firm with them, and not compromise them for the sake of not having to do this alone anymore. I reflected and realized that nothing is worth being in another unhealthy relationship. Nothing is worth the time, the emotions, the lack of progressivity, the things you lose, the time wasted, the emotional weight that is some people carry for weeks, for months, for years. It's not worth it. It's worth being on a steady path, whether slow or fast, whether slow or fast, whether slow or fast, you guys, you are on a path. You are going somewhere. No one can time this path. It's how many steps you take every day. It's you. But in that embrace, I had rathered me embrace myself, love on myself, poke myself, rather than having an unauthentic man, somebody's son, embrace me for the sake of being eye candy, for the sake of being his beard, for the sake of being someone that he has around because my energy suffices his lack of energy thereof, for being that socket that he can plug his cord into and gain his energy for today. I felt whole for that moment. I felt smart for that moment to be able to stop myself in the present and say, what is it that you need to give yourself right now? Because in some instances, this is why we end up in relationships with toxic people or with people who don't complement the future that we have been planned. It is a purpose, it's inevitable to fulfill. We end up with them because there's something about that connection that caters to something we lacked as a kid. And whatever that may be, whether healthy or unhealthy, in most cases it's unhealthy, we end up allowing our boundaries to get put on the back burner, and all the things that we say that we're gonna do to be able to rest in that status change for that temporary moment. Who wants to keep doing that? I don't give a fuck if I was 20 right now. I would be in a space of being too mature to fucking have the time to want to keep wasting it. It's valuable. And when you're in a relationship, Okay, so I don't even want to go there. But the point that I'm trying to make is in that reflection moment and with me embracing myself, I realized that it didn't feel the same as masculine energy embracing me, but it damn sure felt good that it was somebody loving on me, embracing me, which was myself in this season. And the journey continues. Next video for another. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But that felt good. And as authentic as it was, acting it out and not really feeling, you know, the masculine energy coming from it, it felt good to know that the steps are being taken towards everything that I am embracing about me and working towards. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was fruitful to your growth. I hope that's helping us to understand a little bit more the stages of this journey. Because when I first started the journey, I was like, where the fuck how do you, what do you do? Like, what am I supposed to read something? Am I supposed to, how do you start the journey? Like, what does that entail? And now that I'm in the midst of it, it's opening up other doors for other things to be learned and other things to be tested. But one thing I will not test and play with any longer is my heart, my intentions, my whatever this word is, whatever that word is, towards a relationship. And I told myself that nothing is authentic until it gets real with me first. And so along this journey, I'm gonna keep moving on. I'm so excited. You guys, I hope this was fruitful. And I want to encourage you to continue to keep doing what is cultivating to you. We don't have to change. We don't have to mold. We don't have to be what society says that we need to be ourselves, okay? Culturally, I've learned so much from having so many experiences with so many different cultures and races in my travel that I have broadened my horizon in the way that I think. And I can say that needle and haystacks are really hard to find. And I'm grateful for the different perspective that I have towards life, towards people, towards this journey. You are loved. And you are not the only one that grows through what you're growing through. Continue the journey and remain infinitely idiosyncratic because no one will love you the way that you can learn to love yourself. And along that journey of learning how to love yourself, you're going to make mistakes. But I've learned that it takes me too long to get over something that was not healthy for me. And it's not healthy for me to ever have to put myself in a space of getting over something that was never complimentary to me because I'm complimentary to me. And me loving me is not something that I have to get over. It's something that I'm overcoming and learning. And I don't even know if that made sense, you guys. I guess the conversation is done. Remain infinitely idiosyncratic. Peace.